Hi guys, it's
Hi.
Miss Murphy.
And Miss Emily.
We are in the beautiful mountains of New Mexico, Angel Fire to be exact. We have been up here almost 5 weeks. We're doing our quarantine up here because there's no people, and my family happens to have a house up here. So we are really enjoying our nature walks, and we're going to video some things for you and try to teach you a little bit about the mountains. Along the hiking trails, you're going to see signs that label the trails: coyote, elk. You're also going to see a lot of this. This is deer poop. It's also called scat. When you hike in the mountains, you see a lot of scat, different kinds of animal droppings.
And this is an aspen tree, this white tree back here. It's one of the many trees that are around in the national forest that we're in, the Carson National Forest. And if you notice, there's a red square on it. And what that's used for is to show the hikers which way to go on the little hiking trails. And you just kind of look for the red marks and you follow them.
All right, this is what it's like walking up the mountain. It's real hard to breathe up here because there's less oxygen in the mountains. It's beautiful. We use ski poles so we don't fall, hopefully. You can hear that we breathe really hard, especially going uphill. Wow. This is a group of wild turkeys we came upon. A group of wild turkeys is actually called a rafter.
And an adult turkey has approximately 5,500 feathers. A wild turkey's gobble can be heard up to 1 mile away.
And they have very powerful legs. They can run up to 25 miles per hour. Oh, whoopsies! Oh. On this hike, we made it all the way to the top of the mountain where the power lines are. The morning started at 15 degrees, but it climbed to 32, which is still freezing. I have on 2 pair of pants and 2 pair of socks for insulation.
And we're down here in the green belt. That's the mountain. And the reason that it's so green is because when the snow washes off the mountain, it comes down here, the lowest part, and makes the grass really green. It's very hydrated. One day we were out hiking and I saw something that I really thought looked like a lake. And Mom said,
Emily, there are no lakes in this green belt. But then the closer we got, we realized it was a lake. All of that snow had melted and flowed down the mountain to form this beautiful mountain lake.
we love to put out feed on the deck so we can observe all the different kinds of wildlife. We see chipmunks, ground squirrels, and all types of birds.
And this is a mule deer. This is a boy deer because of the antlers. And you know what? These guys are really fierce. If you look at the side of him, he's going to have some tufts of fur missing because they kick each other while they're fighting over their food.
They also show up in groups of 30 or more to our deck at night. Mrs. Murphy and I know because we've counted them.
They come when it snows, when it rains, or if the sun is shining. This little guy is one of our favorite creatures. He's called an A-bear squirrel. He has the biggest ears and the biggest tail.
And this is how we feed the deer. We pour the ground corn on the ground for them, and they eat it from there. Or sometimes they like to actually eat it from our hands. Here I am trying to feed them from my hands.
If you look closely, you see this square on the tree. That is a little cage that holds suet for the birds. There are so many beautiful wild birds up here. We're going to tell you all about them later. But here's a picture of what suet looks like in the package. And then we have a picture of some of their favorite black sunflower seeds. That brings them in by leaps and bounds. Sometimes we see beautiful artwork in the forest that was created by nature. This is a frozen creek. I'm sitting on some of the remains of an old cabin up in the mountains. We figured this is at least at least 100 years old, maybe a little more than that. And the reason we say that is because they have an old stove and some old box springs, so they had metal things. But what I like to do is sit up here and look out over the valley and imagine what it was like sitting up here looking for deer that we might get for dinner, or even watching for maybe the Apache tribe coming to attack. This is probably why they chose this location. It's got a really good vantage point.
Thanks for tuning in.
We hope you learned a lot, and we plan on sending you some videos next week about all of the animals in the mountains.